Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Balloonfest 86?
Balloonfest? Oh, I think I've heard of this.
Yeah?
I think.
Okay, well...
Wait, maybe I'm thinking, is this hot air balloons or is this like the...
No, it's cold air balloons.
Cold air balloons. Okay.
Standard air balloons.
Okay, so high school assemblies in the 80s. Say, hey, what do you guys think about us filling up balloons? And they're like... Yeah, do whatever you want. You know, they're cool.
They're way too cool for this.
They got the puffy hair.
Yeah. They're way too cool for
They're
this.
like, they're smoking in class.
They're smoking so much in school.
Things I learned last night.
Yeah. Standard, normal, regular, everyday air balloons.
Okay.
Okay. I think the best way to start this story is by talking about the only thing that makes sense when talking about balloons, and that is Disney World or Disneyland.
Disneyland, okay.
Because in 1985, Disneyland said, wouldn't it be sweet?
They're celebrating their 30th.
Yeah, they said, wouldn't it be sweet if we launched more balloons than anybody's ever launched in the history of this world? And so they hired a guy by the name of, let me get his name real quick. They hired a guy by the name of Treb Henning.
I'm pretty sure it's Trim.
It's Treb.
I'm sorry, did you say
Trim? Treb? No, Treb, Treb.
Okay.
Treb. He
what nationality is that name? Is that shoot? Is that short for something?
I don't know if it's short for anything. I've seen an interview of him, and he looks like an average 80s dad, like white suburban dad.
Treb is a cool name.
Yeah, I don't know, like, because he's got like the male pattern baldness and like the big glasses with thin rim.
What is Jeb short for?
Jebediah?
Trebediah?
Trebediah. So Trebediah had a company called Balloon Art by Treb.
Okay.
And he was based in LA.
Yeah.
It's fun because if you read articles about this, it says they subcontracted Los Angeles-based company Balloon Art by Treb, and it's like we don't have to act like this is like a big company, like the way you're phrasing.
Yeah,
it.
Los Angeles-based.
This is a dude who fills balloons up in his garage.
Is that really the vibe, or is it like a company?
Well, I don't know what the vibe is. I mean, I guess technically speaking, he is doing a lot of big events with these balloons.
Okay.
So he did the Olympics. He did the balloons for the Olympics.
Yeah, so he's probably he's probably not doing that in his garage.
I mean, yeah, but he's got a 3-car.
In 1985?
Yeah, he was freaking rich.
1985, I have a 3-car garage at my house. My dad fills up balloons all day. Not with hot air, it's all cold.
Just standard cold air balloons.
1985.
So Disney's like, hey, we need you to make more balloons go up than anybody's ever made go up. And he was like, okay, weird way to say that. So they hired him for this event.
Okay.
And it was just
balloons gone up. Okay.
You hit it exactly on the head. They was a 30-year anniversary. They wanted to make a big deal out of it. So they hired him.
Well, I know because right now is their 70th.
Yeah.
This year was they're like, oh, we've been around for like a long time.
Been around long enough to die.
Hey, speaking of dying, dude, here's the thing, man. I think I might be losing it because as soon as I landed in the airport last night, I get off the plane and you know what's vacuuming the airport?
Robots.
One of those robots.
Yeah.
I go to Quick Trip today. What's in Quick Trip?
One of those little.
And
the Quick Trip one talks to you. It's got
that's
eyes.
What I'm saying. That's what I was just about to say.
You.
It went, welcome to Quick Trip. And I wanted it to die so bad. I wanted it to knock it over because it looks like a little miniature Zamboni just going through Quick Trip. And I'm like, that.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. The Quick Trip by my house, they put
the floors are
got
clean.
a little action figure that sits on top of it.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And here's what I was thinking is that because I was actually talking to a guy today about how like the Vin Hub by my house.
Yeah.
You know, I called you. I ranted about this.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I told you about the Vin Hub thing. Did I talk about this on the podcast?
You might have.
The Vin Hub, it's a giant vending machine with robots inside. And so you go 24/7. It's like a convenience store. They've got like energy drinks, anything that you would have like a 7-Eleven, like, you know, little snacks, ibuprofen, all the stuff. And it's got little robot arms that you just basically just go, I want that. And it goes, zzz, zzz. And the guy today made a really great point. Was he said, well, yeah, but like in 5 years that the robot technology is outdated, so they have to replace the robot. He goes, so all the savings they're saving by not having the attendant, they're going to have to replace those parts. Even if it's not 5 years, they're going to replace those parts in 10, 15, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe true.
And I said this. I said, yeah, that's right. I mean, like it takes people 70 years to break down, and these robots break down every 10.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So honestly, capitalist pigs, if you're listening, which I know you are, you're not listening. You're I don't know. You have like an AI recap that's just like they joked around about this and blah 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 or whatever.
And it was really annoying. You should leave a comment about how annoying it was. That's the AI. The AI is like, you should.
If you're listening, it's more cost effective for you to hire people. Because two things are going to happen. One, this little quick trip robot is going to run out of juice. The battery's going to need replaced. Then the battery costs more than the whole appliance itself.
Eventually, the battery will corrode.
And two, I'm going to beat the crap out of it. And you're going to have to replace it.
You're going to have to do something about that.
I'm going to fight that robot.
I'm going to fist fight that robot. Okay. All right.
Me and Velocity Gnome are here to fight that robot in quick
trip. Fight the
trip.
robot bears.
You know, is this a valid crash out I'm having or no?
It is a valid crash out. I don't think it's... I don't know. I think it's a valid crash out. Yeah, whatever.
But there's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to become...
Yeah, we're all just going to die.
All right. Only in 70 years, though, which is how old Disney was or is now. At this time, they were 30. At this time, Disney was young and spry and only 30 years old and still had a whole life ahead of it.
Disneyland.
Yeah, sorry, Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they were like, we got to celebrate. And
Happy birthday.
They had a big party.
Yeah.
So Trev put together 1 million balloons.
Okay.
And
I can't picture what 1 million balloons looks like.
He went to Disney and he released 1 million balloons at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh. He filled those up in his garage.
Yeah.
And there's one hot air balloon in the background.
Garage. Oh yeah, look at that.
You can see it way back there.
So
this is cool.
Yeah.
It's not really thinking about anything in the neighborhood, or did they get this approved by the city?
I mean, this was 85, so probably not. I mean, 1985, who cares?
I miss the days, man. You can't do something like this now.
No, you could not.
Because of this, probably what happened.
So they did this.
How many fish did that kill?
I don't know.
I imagine that it all goes into the ocean.
Well, I mean, I don't know. As far as I'm aware, this goes off relatively without a hitch. But there was someone in the crowd that day. And he worked for United Way. He was in the marketing department. And he saw this and he said, this is really cool. And he said, I just recently got placed in a new United Way office in Cleveland, Ohio. And he said, man, Cleveland's, they're in a bad way. Cleveland over the last 10 years has been just wrought with scandal. So the list is pretty long. We're going to kind of go through everything real quick so you can just get an idea of where Cleveland's at as a city.
Okay.
Obviously, they're a steel town. And they are part of the whole motor city, like falling apart, auto industry.
Big.
So like they blew up in population, and now in this era, when everything got shipped overseas in the late 70s, they no longer.
When did that happen in the late 70s?
No, in the early 70s. Yeah, the whole 70s. Across the 70s.
Yeah.
All these auto and manufacturers got shipped overseas.
Yeah.
And so then a lot of their manufacturing plants shut down, steel plants shut down, and a lot of people lost their jobs.
Right.
This was also the era of white flight. And so downtown Cleveland was falling apart because of white flight. On top of that, there was a shocking amount of bomb violence throughout the 70s.
Really?
Enough to where they earned the name Bomb City, USA, because there's just so many people just like doing like
bombs.
Yeah, just makeshift bombs. And so like car bombs were constantly going off, and like people were setting up little like what's the word? Pipe bombs everywhere. It was just a really common thing.
Terrorism?
I mean, terrorism, but also people who were like, it was like going postal, but before going postal, it was like, I'm going to bomb my office because I'm disgruntled. Or like I lost my job at the steel mill, so I'm going to bomb the steel mill. People were doing that in this era.
Okay.
And so it was such a big deal. Like everyone was bombing everybody. And then the main river that went through Cleveland was super polluted. I actually have a picture of how bad it was. This is how polluted the river was from all the steel mills. They were just dumping in the river.
Yeah.
And so throughout,
it's like a red.
yeah, and it got so
Is
bad.
this why they're the Cleveland Browns? Because it looks like their color. Like, what do you guys want to be our football team? Let's name it after the river. Oh, brown. Look at it. That's the same orange.
Oh my gosh.
For the audio listener, it's Cleveland in the 1980s.
This is 70s.
The 70s, and the river is the color of the Browns helmet.
It actually
is orange. And if you can't make sense of that, I can't either.
Anyone else? No, I'm pretty sure the Browns started in Baltimore. They were the Baltimore Browns, and I'm pretty sure they're named after the founder's dog.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's true, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you just made it up.
But this does look like the Cleveland Browns colors.
Yeah.
But it was so polluted that more than 5 times throughout the 70s, the river caught on fire. Like big time caught on fire.
Wow.
And so if you're listening, it looks like a forest fire on the river.
You put that out?
I don't. That's a good question.
With more water?
You push the fire into the water. Get that fire underwater, quick.
Is it like the you know too much about this, so I not ask follow-up questions?
I don't know.
Is it like the chemicals laying on top of the water?
Yes, I do know that there's like oils all over the top of it.
That's
so this
scary.
is burning on the top of the river.
Okay.
Super common. Also,
and this guy seeing, okay, let's keep going through the corruption. Go ahead. I'm just going through like, this guy's like, dang, man, our city's suffering because people have lost their jobs. People are leaving the downtown for suburban areas. The river's brown and on fire. You know what Cleveland needs?
Well, their mayor.
1,000,001 balloons.
Their mayor, Ralph Perk.
Okay.
He was what's the word? Eccentric. Didn't have a great reputation on the national stage. And one day in the 70s, he was mired in a scandal that made national news. He was on the front page of newspapers across the country because he was at a like a very big event for the American Society of Metals at the Cleveland Convention Center.
Okay.
And they had him cut the ribbon going into the convention, right? But they thought it'd be cool if the ribbon was made of titanium. And they're like, you cut the titanium ribbon. But obviously you can't cut that with scissors. So he cut it with a welding torch. Ribbon cut.
People were terrified.
Ribbon cut. Ribbon cut.
So he cuts it with a laser?
No, he cuts it with a welding torch.
Oh.
And so he put on the goggles, cuts it with the welding torch, and a spark bounced up in his hair and caught his head on fire. Oh. And so this picture was on the newspaper, the front page of the paper across the country.
And look at him. Oh my gosh, man.
He lost some hair, but that was really it.
And this is what sucks about doing comedy, dude, is that we would do that in a TV. I would pitch that for like a sketch or a TV show, and someone would go, "There." Like, it's like when people are like, "Parks and Rec is too, over the top," and it's like, "Are you looking around at real life, dude?" That's crazy.
So this guy, he also got an invite to the White House. And I kid you not.
Because of this, or?
I don't know if it was because of this. I don't know if it was before or after this.
Because was Nixon in right now?
I think so. Nixon was 69 to 74. So yeah, Nixon was during
I'm thinking of the Republican move in the 50s for the polarization. And then in the...
Ford was 74 to 77. Carter 77 to 81.
That's right.
Anyways, so he got an invite to the White House, to Nixon's White House. And his response, dead serious, was like, I can't make it because Tuesday night is bowling night. And he turned it down because he had to bowl.
He's like, no.
Nah, I'd rather be bowling.
Here's the thing, dude. People used to do that.
Bowling's important. Bowling's important to me, man. I don't know what you expect. President Nixon.
Was it Nixon? Is that what we said?
Yeah, that was during his term. Okay, so this guy.
So tangent on the bowling thing though. I just ordered Robert Putnam's Bowling Alone book.
Robert Putnam. Why do I
you know
that
about?
name?
He's a sociologist, or is he just a? He wrote Bowling Alone, which is his huge book from the 90s.
Okay.
And but it's about how the number of people who bowled didn't go down, but the number of people who bowled in groups did. So it became more of an individual activity, and so it's a community book. But he's talking about the reason that he was not willing to skip his Tuesday night bowling group is that's like if you were like, hey, don't go to church on Sunday, and for some people that's my community. That's the only place I connect.
I can't miss bowling.
Yeah,
interesting.
Anyway, and now we hold nothing sacred.
It's true. I don't know if there's anything I would skip to be able to just be home alone on the weekend.
Sometimes I'll make plans with someone that I know is going to cancel.
Yeah, you're like, this will be great because you're not going to fall.
And then I always end up right in the window where they're like trying to turn their life around, and they're like, I'm trying to cancel less.
Oh, no.
I was really banking on you not doing this.
Speaking of people following through, did you listen to my karaoke this weekend? I wasn't sure if you were going to think it was mean or funny.
Here's what I think. When someone wants to make it really obvious that they're too cool for something?
Oh my God.
And it makes them, you're like, all right, you are too cool for this.
Oh my gosh. Here's genuine. I felt like
Alex has no idea what we're talking about. So we have a group chat where it's called Serenade Sunday, where every Sunday we take a voice memo of us singing a song, and you got to try earnestly to sing. This week I did Something Like That by Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
And you play. You can either play.
You're
the song.
not trying earnestly though.
Something like that. I was trying to do a country accent earnestly. I was trying to do it was Labor Day week and I was 17. That. See, I don't sound good when I sing like Tim McGraw. Mm-hmm. Tim sends a voice memo where he goes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And I listened to it and I went, oh, all right.
Yeah, that was funny to do the pledge. When's the last time you did the pledge?
I do it every morning.
Do it right now. Can you do the whole thing?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you be able to do that if you didn't hear me do that on a voice recording yesterday?
Yeah, because I do it every morning. I wake up, I look myself dead in the eyes in the mirror.
Yeah, because there's the red, white, and blue is in my eyes. It's in my heart. I don't have to look. I
pledge allegiance to the flag and to the Savior for whose kingdom it stands. You want to talk about indoctrination, dude. I was in third grade doing the allegiance to the Christian flag. And then also, did you do the pledge to the Bible?
We did the pledge to the Bible, yeah. And I remember...
Made me a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my path.
I remember being so confused as a kid because I went to Christian schools. And so we flew the Christian flag outside at our flagpole, but the American flag flew higher. And I remember nobody could give me a straight answer why we put the American flag above the Christian flag.
It's illegal.
I'm like, why isn't God more important to you than this country? And no one could give me a straight answer.
The straight answer is that it's illegal not to.
I mean, I know that's true, but if we're gonna fly the Christian flag,
who's enforcing
it? Yeah, you do that. The cops show up. Sorry, got to take you to jail. Flag.
Flag code violation.
Excuse me. It seems like
your flags are wrong.
Here's my hot takes on the half-mast stuff. Okay.
We are getting a little out of hand with them. Yeah, there are some.
Do I feel? Is this bad? Listen.
If I see a flag half-mast and I have to ask,
if I have to Google why that's
like, I wonder why that's half-mast, then it shouldn't be.
I'm not trying to be insensitive.
Yeah,
you agree with me on this?
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
It used to be like a president died or like 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And now it's like, dude, it's half-mast more than it's regular mast.
Yeah.
I don't know what regular mast is called.
Yeah.
And I got to Google to figure out, why is this down right now?
Yeah, no.
I don't think that's...
Yeah, that's dumb.
Am I crazy? Alex is giving us that face.
Alex is like, yeah.
Alex is giving us that face right where he's like, yeah, I mean, but, I do feel like it's a little,
If we have this thing that we say all the time in like computer engineering, if everything is urgent, nothing is urgent.
Exactly. That's
And
what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
this feels like.
Well, okay. Whoa. I know we're getting on a big tangent right now. Okay, and we'll get to the story later. This is the show. Welcome. But that kind of goes to a big part of our culture is if I say something is important to me, then some people interpret that as the other things aren't important at all.
Yes.
Like where it's like it's either important or it's not. And it's like, hey, there's different varies of like my wife is more important to me than my friends. Oh, so you don't care about your friends? No. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I think that is pervaded a lot of anyway. Okay. It rant over, put the flags up. Let's say it together.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For most.
For some. Hey, thanks for watching our show. If you like it, a great way to help out is by being a Patreon supporter. Doing that helps make this show possible, but it also gets a lot of perks for you. You can get every episode a week early ad-free. You get access to a Discord where you can meet a lot of other people who love the show and actually hang out with Jaron and I every month on a hangout. And we're also in that Discord chat all the time, talking with people, talking about episodes and just random stuff in life. It's super fun. There's a way to get birthday messages, a free gift, merch discounts in there. So there's a lot of really great reasons to be a Patreon supporter. You get a lot of benefits out of it. And it also makes the show keep happening. So if that sounds great to you, you can go to support.tilln.com or tilln.com/support, or just tilln.com and search around until you find the links and become a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate you doing that. But if not, right back to the episode, right?
And if you were listening to that on the podcast and you didn't pull over,
yeah, shame. You're not a patriot.
Get out of here. Why don't you keep driving?
So this guy by the name of George Fraser, I don't know if I said his name earlier. He's in Disneyland. He watches this and he says, man, Cleveland's struggling. You know what we need? We need one of these.
Cleveland needs something like this just to revitalize the city. Our river's on fire. Our mayor is on fire. we gotta get some balloons.
Something. We need this.
Okay.
And so he goes back to his office in Cleveland after the event. He works for United Way. He's the marketing director, and he calls up that guy. What did I say his name was? It was something weird. Treb. He calls Treb.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, is this Treb at Balloon Art by Treb? And he says, Treb it is. And so he talks to him. He tells him all about it. And he says, I want to break that record. And he's like, I just broke the record. And he said, well, I need you to break it again. And he's like, I like the way you're thinking there, George.
That's pretty good.
Nothing better than breaking a record twice. Am I right?
First place, Treb. Second place,
Treb.
That's how I like it. In the balloon world, they've got flags hanging half-mast that say Treb on me. He's the balloon guy.
Can we make,
they love him.
Can we make a flag?
Sure.
It's a balloon snake, and it says, don't Treb on me.
Don't Treb on me. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so...
We'll hire an artist.
Hey, we're not gonna hire an artist.
Yeah.
we're not gonna. It's not gonna be a.
All right. I don't like that. I can see how long we've been recording now. So now I'm getting anxious about it, and I'm like, oh, we gotta hurry up.
So
we talked about flag code for too long.
Good podcast. Flag code was too long.
And you know what sucks is that we're gonna get so many YouTube comments. They're like, these guys know nothing about flag code.
And here's the thing. If you're watching on YouTube,
You should be listening.
you should be
Because
listening.
we make way more money on people. Guys,
so much more money.
for real though, pause for a second. We did make a joke about people watching on YouTube, and I honestly didn't know we had that many audio listeners who would feel bad. We were joking. Like, you can still listen on audio, but you should listen on
more.
audio, because if you're watching right now, you're stealing from us.
You're
essentially
stealing from us. Yeah, that's theft.
Guys, that's a joke. It doesn't matter. Thanks for if you're reading the transcript of this in Braille, thanks for being here. I don't know how you're consuming this
Renting out.
podcast.
And so George calls Turb and he tells him, hey, I love what you did for Disneyland.
Big fan, yeah.
I think Cleveland needs this. And Turb literally,
Cleveland needs this.
Turb straight up is like, good luck. That was hard. And he's like, well, I don't need luck. I need you. And Turb was like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah, nothing gets the balloon guy in more than inflating his ego.
And so him and Turb start to put together this plan.
Sure.
And, it was Treb. Him and Treb, not Turb.
Turb.
Him and Treb start putting this plan together.
Objectively funnier.
And so George is like, okay, well, this is going to take some funding. He works for United Way, a nonprofit organization. And so he wants to make this like a big like publicity stunt. And so like something to like kind of bring the excitement back to Cleveland. This is 86 now. And so some things have happened. Like Cleveland is not what it was in the 70s. United Way, along with the local government, has been cleaning up the city. Like the bombs aren't going off anymore. The river's not burning.
Yeah.
Some of the factories have opened back up, or they've replaced those jobs that were lost. And so like the city's doing better. They've revitalized the downtown, and it's not the problem that it was before that.
I've only been to Cleveland a couple times.
Yeah, what'd you think?
It was fun. I love Columbus. Columbus is a cool vibe.
Yeah.
I don't think I spent enough time in Cleveland. Cincinnati was
like, have an
okay.
opinion.
Cincinnati was very the way that Kansas City used to be. Kansas City, probably early 2010s.
Yeah.
That first half of the
Yeah.
2010s was very like, this part of town's cool. Don't go here.
Yep.
This part of town's cool. Not like don't go here, but it's like there's nothing there. Or it is like, don't park your car there and leave it unattended.
Yeah.
Like not dangerous by any means, but it was just like segregated. Like here's an area that business is happening, and then it's just dead zones around. Here's an area. That's what Cincinnati kind of felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Or
Cleveland? No, that's what Cincinnati just felt like. Cleveland also felt a little bit like that, I guess. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Ohio.
I do like, I've never been, but I do think it looks like a great city. From me
go?
scrolling around on Google Maps.
You want to do a weekend getaway to Cleveland?
I honestly, genuinely would love that. It was the worst step up I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was you, dude, because you kept yours way over here.
Well, I got caught on
You
this.
withheld
I
it.
got caught on this.
All right.
Anyways,
We could wear those shirts that have like, with like the drawing of the bikini body on it. Just walk around Cleveland with our cleavage.
Is that where they got the name?
I don't think so. Funny, right? I don't know, dude. You tell the story. I'm just joking.
So he goes and he
Tell
puts
the story.
together a group of the like top like brass of Cleveland, like government people,
Yeah.
business owners.
And he's like, guys, I've got an idea to release some balloons.
Yeah. And he's like, I need some funding for this.
How much does that cost?
I mean, I don't know. You figure what, 10 cents a balloon, 5 cents a balloon? How much were balloons in the 80s?
I don't know, with inflation.
Oh no.
I set it up and he fell for it. What an idiot.
I don't know. I don't know how much it costs. I would guess that they probably, I mean, today, if this happened today, I would say this is a multi-million-dollar event.
Yeah, of course.
Just from like the infrastructure of it. Maybe not.
Well,
even
the
just
cost of the
balloons.
balloon itself, but also the labor of putting the helium in the... Yeah.
And then just like putting the event
Treb
on,
in his
marketing the
garage,
event,
just putting it together.
security for it.
He needs security for her.
Protect
They're going to
the
touch our balloons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Throw darts at them. You never know. Like you gotta be prepared.
Okay.
So he goes to these people and he kind of puts together his pitch, and everybody was like, seemed a little, and someone says, this sounds all well and great, but like, what does this do for Cleveland? A lot of people weren't seeing the bigger picture.
Sure.
And he musters up this kind of pitch out of nowhere where he's like, I think that if we can bring Clevelanders together, people from all walks of life, people from all spiritual backgrounds, people to work together from the east side to the west side, from black and white and Hispanic, we can make the impossible possible. And we can show to the world and we can show to Cleveland that Cleveland is great. And the board essentially that he put together was like, you know what? That is the best little pitch we've ever heard. And I'm kid you not.
Just the 80s. Because they were like, let's do it.
I kid you not. That is like a direct quote. Everything I just said from him in an interview. He said that, they said that was the best little pitch we've ever heard. And so they signed off on it.
Little pitch
I know.
we've ever heard.
That's what he said.
It's the word little in there, you know?
That's the best little pitch we've ever heard.
You know what?
This guy's adorable.
Let this weird guy do his balloon
Let this
thing.
weird guy do his balloons.
Yeah, this seems like an opportunity to launder some money through it. So just let him do the balloon thing, jack it up, a couple $1 million. We'll get some money cleaned through this.
So they put together some funding for it. They still needed to put together their volunteer army.
Okay.
And so what they decided.
How many people do you need to do this?
Well, they figured, and I did see it in another interview. Treb said, if I was doing this by myself, I could put this together a lot quicker. But if we were using volunteers, most volunteers probably going to do 2 to 3 balloons a minute, inflate 2 to 3 balloons a minute. Is that I could do way more, but I can't do more than 1 million balloons by myself, and so I need volunteers to help. And so 2 to 3 balloons a minute, we need a few thousand people to help put this together. And so they set their sights on 2 million balloons. Disney did 1 million. They said we want to do 2 million. We want to blow that record out of the water by 1-upping it. 1 million upping it. And so they went around to local schools and they started doing assemblies. And they were like, how cool would it be if there was like a lot of balloons in Cleveland? And the kids were like, yeah. That would
and the kids, these are high schoolers in the 80s?
Yeah, these are grade school to high school.
Okay, so high school assemblies in the 80s. Say, hey, what do you guys think about filling up balloons? And they're like, yeah, do whatever you want. You know, they're cool.
They're way too cool for this.
They got the puffy hair.
Yeah. They're way too cool for this.
They're like, they're smoking in class.
They're smoking so much in school. Their schools was separate. A lot of people don't know this, but school had smoking and non-smoking sections.
Yeah, when you get there in kindergarten, they go, do you want to be in the smoking class or non-smoking class? Yeah, put me in the smoking class.
And it's like, well, I get to choose?
No, thanks, I quit.
Given a choice.
I quit. I quit years ago.
So he goes to the school and he shows them all the balloons he's done.
Yeah.
And so he shows them the Olympics. He shows them Disney. He shows all these big events that he did, the Super Bowl. Like he's done all these big events doing balloons. And he's like, you can do one of these if you volunteer to help us for Balloonfest 86. All I need you to do is show up at 3 a.m. and help me inflate 2 million balloons. And
3 a.m.?
Yeah. And so he puts together this army of volunteers, mostly kids. But a lot of most of these kids, their parents came out.
Sure.
Full family came out to inflate balloons. But it became this thing where it was like, there was a lot of buzz around it. It was like, we're coming together as a city to break a world record. Guinness Book of World Records is going to be there. They got a bunch of corporations to jump on. So Coca-Cola sponsored the event.
Is Guinness Book of World Records related to Guinness the beer?
Yes, actually. And it's kind of interesting. I've thought about doing an episode, but there wasn't enough. So I can tell you right now, Guinness in the late 1800s was like, everybody's constantly in bars, like just telling these crazy stories, but we have no way to verify if they're true or not. And so Guinness, the beer family, said, what if we put together a group to verify these stories? And so they did. And so the world record book was, if people tell a crazy story, call us and we're going to go verify it and put it in the book. And so then they started having the book at their bar in like the original Guinness distillery, or not distillery, brewery. And then it caught fire and now it's all over the place. And that's where it came from.
Wow.
Because of bar stories.
Well,
really
cut
fun.
that out. Leave it. I'm joking. That is super interesting.
Yeah. So Guinness Book of World Records is going to be there. Coca-Cola sponsoring the event.
Yeah.
Taco Bell jumped on. Taco Bell's like, we'll make the longest burrito ever made too. They're like, we'll also break a record.
What is with companies trying to freaking jump on stuff, dude?
We'll also break a
They've
record.
always been doing that. Companies like, how do we?
We're there too. We're going to be there too.
We're also making a super long taco.
We're also breaking a record too.
The burrito's super long.
We can break records also.
And you're like, why? Okay.
What does that
we
have to
didn't
do
want
with
you to be part of
balloons?
this. We just wanted to bring Cleveland together. We also want to bring Cleveland together around the 89-cent cheesy gordita crunch. What?
What are you talking about right now?
Steal a base, steal a taco.
What does that have nothing to do with baseball? Baseball season's over.
Sorry, we're just trying to be
steal a balloon, steal a taco.
We're just trying to be relevant.
You can't forget about us. Don't forget about us. Please don't forget about us.
Dude, companies have always been so thirsty for attention, dude. That's crazy.
So this became this huge thing.
They're like the kid who's just like, my mom will buy us alcohol if you guys come over. And they're like, what?
And everyone's like, I don't want any.
Know. We're 7.
Yeah, it's 87. Well, actually, would your mom buy us cigarettes?
Smoking is
cool. So they start planning for this event.
Yeah.
And
okay, speaking of school assemblies with balloons, though, have I told you about the guy who came to our school?
No.
We had the guy from the world's strongest man competitions. You know, those big strong man where they flip cars over.
Yeah.
This guy was still pretty jacked, but he held the records for or whatever was strongest lungs. And he would come do the anti-smoking speech at our school, and he could blow up those long balloons with his just his mouth.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
Is it impressive enough to do a 45-minute school assembly over, though? Where you're like, no, it doesn't happen that fast. It's very...
Okay, I could do that then. Let's be honest, I could do that.
And then, like, he's not super talented at making balloon animals stuff.
Yeah.
He does the thing and he goes, if you don't smoke, you can do this too.
Oh, so he's just an average guy.
Yeah. I don't think you can. We'll get balloons for the next episode because you cannot do that for sure.
I can 100% do
I've tried to do it and I have good lungs.
Yeah, I've got good lungs too.
Tim.
Yeah, wait till you see these lungs, boy. Don't look at me like that. Who do you think has the better lungs? Leave it in the comments. No, so Treb says, hey, when we did 1 million balloons at Disney, what we did is we had 1,000 of these bags, and you can see them. And it was 1,000 bags of 1,000.
Yeah.
And so we had 1,000 people that ripped open these bags, and then we had the 1 million balloons in the air. And he said, with 2 million balloons, I don't think this is feasible because that's 2,000 people holding up bags of 1,000 balloons. And he said, I just don't think we can get that many people into the square in Cleveland where they were going to do it. It was too tight. And so to also be releasing and ripping up those balloons, they just didn't think it was realistic. So they got a group of engineers together to build an enclosure. And
my gosh.
Concept was they had this big, huge square in downtown Cleveland, and they built this frame and then attached nets to the frame. And they said, okay, everyone's going to sit under there. They're going to put the balloons together, inflate them, and just release them into the net. And so, day of the event rolls around.
Which is what day?
1986. September 27th, 1986.
September 27th?
Yeah. And I should say, right before, September 26th, 1986. They're all in Cleveland, ready for this big event. The city's...
What are you in town for?
I want to put a bunch of balloons up.
Balloons.
Loons. Excuse me?
Loons.
Loons. I call them that for short. Balloon takes too much to say. You would know if you were in the industry.
You'd get it.
You
weren't a weak-lunged punk.
Your lungs are too weak. You've been smoking, haven't you?
Yeah.
I can tell. So September 26th, Treb's in his hotel.
Okay.
And a microburst comes through town. Big storm causes a ton of damage throughout the city. 60-mile-an-hour winds, just kind of out of the blue.
Oh, geez.
They knew there was going to be a storm, but they didn't know it was going to be this severe of a storm. And it actually damages some of the netting. And so they're very concerned about whether or not this event can really happen. They're looking at the forecast. It looks like there's a chance of rain the next day. But the organizers are like, well, we really want this to go on. George comes to Treb and he says, hey, look, one of our nets is damaged. But he said, but I think our crew can handle this. And so he says, why don't you just go to bed? And he said, we're going to take care of the nets. We'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
And so George and the construction crew, they go out there. They're out. They pull an all-nighter repairing the nets.
Okay.
They get everything put back together. There's one edge of one of the nets that's a little
wonky,
finicky.
Sure.
But they said I think we can still release everything. That's just going to stay attached. Because originally the plan was the nets were all going to be removed.
Sure.
And then it was going to release when the time came to release them. They're like, we can just leave this one section of the balloons. But there was a little bit of they're in a little bit of nerves because there's the chance of a storm the next day.
Hey, thanks for listening to Things I Learned Last Night. It would do us a huge favor if you could just share this episode with somebody or just share the show. Tell someone you like it. That helps us grow the show. Another way to help us grow the show is to sport our merch, which is actually super comfy. We changed to a new merch supplier a couple years ago called Fourth Wall. You can buy our stuff at shop.tilln.com. None of this is a pressure, by the way, but it just really does help us grow the show, and it helps get the word out. And people ask me about my hoodie in the airport all the time. So they're really comfy. Would love for you to support the show. And either way, thanks for being here. We're glad that we get to do this podcast.
So the next day, they wake up 3 a.m. and thousands of kids and their families are in downtown Cleveland already, 3 o'clock in the morning, ready to put together these balloons.
Sure.
And they tell the story of this event because all these people were putting together these balloons, and they're putting together and tying thousands of balloons. And I got to the point where you looked around this weird enclosure that they built, and everybody had like their fingers all taped up because they were like cutting their fingers from tying so many balloons. And so everybody had these weird like tape, like duct tape ties around their fingers to like protect their fingers from how many balloons they were tying all day. So there's this army of reverse fingerless gloves all around this enclosure. And by early afternoon, this public square in Cleveland looked like this.
Oh my gosh.
Because and you can kind of see in this
So
picture.
you're tying the balloon, just kind of letting it go to get up to the net.
Yeah, and it was just the net was catching it. You can kind of see everyone's just sitting at a table, and on the table there's all these helium tanks, and the families are just sitting there tying balloons all day, just kind of chit-chatting, gossiping, tying balloons and releasing them and filling up this giant net in the middle of the public square in downtown Cleveland.
Okay.
And as the day goes on,
it looks cool.
It looks pretty neat. Like this looks like the Skittles jar, or not the Skittles jar, the sprinkles jar at Cold Stone. And so as the day goes on, they start to kind of hear, okay, hey, look, that storm is starting to head in. We need to start to be prepared to launch early because there's a chance we got to get this out of here before things go south. Because we can't launch all these balloons in like a middle of a storm. And so they're kind of, I don't want to say rushing, but they're kind of, there's this idea that they're like kind of racing against the clock a little bit. They're putting these things together. And as they're getting close to the end, the finish line, they end up realizing the net just keeps getting caught on all the bolts for the frame that they had put together. And so they're sitting there and they're like, I don't know if this is actually going to actually release because it's catching these bolts. And so Treb says, you know what? I think I know what we can do. And so he goes into the hotel and he just starts rounding up plastic trash cans from the hotel. And then he starts cutting up the trash cans and just building little enclosures for all the bolts. And so that way it would just slide around the plastic and wouldn't have anything it could catch on.
Okay.
And so there's like a lot of quick thinking.
Small little things. Yeah.
Little details. And then finally, they get news from the National Weather Service that, hey, we do think that the storm's going to come in about an hour early. And they said, that's perfect because we're looking out here and we did it. We've got all the balloons we were looking to get. At this point, they had lowered their sites to 1.5 million because I don't think they had enough volunteers to get to 2. But they
still clear the record.
Yeah, by 500,000. And so they said, everybody's just kind of hanging out. We're in party mode. We're just waiting for the release. And so they said, why don't we just release early? At this point, there are 200,000 people in downtown Cleveland. They said that the attendance to this event was the only thing in the entire 20th century that rivaled it was the end of World War II. And so this was a big deal for Cleveland. It was packed. Everybody's excited for this. And so then they said, okay, it's time to go. And they pulled the releases and the net starts to open up and swell out. And so the way this worked is I believe all these balloons were like acting as like almost tie down, the big ones.
Yeah.
They released them and then they started to lift the net up. And 1.5 million balloons lifted up into downtown Cleveland and spread across the skyline. This is not as good of this is from the news helicopter.
Yeah.
And just enveloped downtown Cleveland and covered the entire city.
That's pretty cool.
And it's really cool if you watch the video because this was one of the wildest things anybody had ever seen in their life. George, the guy who did it, I watched an interview. He said he described it like a atom bomb of joy, which it does kind of look like.
That's cool. It's not. It's probably insensitive to call it that.
But things didn't stay joyful for long because that storm did end up coming through.
Okay.
And that storm front, what happened is it caused a lot. What they expected is, and what normally happens in these balloon releases is the balloons go up and then they kind of go in the atmosphere and they disappear. You never have to think about them again.
That is what happens to them.
What they expected is that like, most of them are going to pop or deflate and come falling back down. It's the 80s. No one cares about pollution yet. And so everyone's just like, who cares? There'll be trash somewhere. People will pick it up.
But not here.
Yeah. We won't have to worry about it.
Imagine you're in a town near Cleveland. You have no idea what's going on. And all of a sudden you just see a cloud of
1.5 million balloons descending on your town.
You don't know they're balloons when you see them.
Yeah, it's just like a real atom bomb.
You're like, we're being attacked. And it's the Cold War era, right?
Yeah, the 80s, yeah.
You're like,
we're all dead.
We're done.
We're done for.
Okay.
So these come crashing back down to Earth. And yes, they're just balloons, but there's so many of them that it's affecting visibility. And there are car accidents all over the city of people who just couldn't see enough. And so they were running into other cars. And there was crashes happening.
Oh, because the change in pressure in the...
What? What'd you say?
Because the storm was rolling in.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the crashes. That like...
No, the
pressure change. You're like, I can't drive anymore.
No, the change in atmospheric pressure is forcing the balloons down.
Forcing the balloons back down, yeah. And so they all came down instead of continued to go up.
Yeah.
And they ended up going into Lake Erie and just filling Lake Erie with all these balloons. And this ended up being a really big deal because the night before, an hour before that microburst came through, a couple fishermen went out on Lake Erie to go fishing, and the microburst came in that they weren't expecting, and then they went missing. And so that day, there was a Coast Guard search trying to find these guys. And they said in a report, they said, what most of our searches are is we're going around, we're looking for heads bobbing on the water.
Okay.
And they said, how are you going to figure out which of these is a person and not a balloon?
Oh, no.
And so they were, and to make matters even worse, the airspace around it was so crowded that they had to call a no-fly zone because you couldn't fly through all these balloons because they were just kind of
That's what I was thinking
getting pushed down. And so this ended up becoming this disaster that led to millions of dollars worth of damages and ended up causing lots and lots of injuries. There's a report of a local stable, I guess is the word for it, place where you keep horses. That's a stable. Ranch, there's the word.
Sure.
It came in and all the balloons spooked the horses because they've never seen balloons and they've also never seen that many balloons at once. And they ended up getting injured. And so the Wikipedia page actually literally says non-fatal injuries, multiple horses were injured in the event. And then those fishermen, they ended up later recovering the bodies, and the public was blaming the
balloons.
If the balloons weren't there, maybe they could have found them earlier.
Yeah.
And so this became this whole scandal, and the families of the fishermen came forward. They sued United Way for millions of dollars. The ranchers whose horses were injured sued United Way. The people who were involved in car accidents sued. There's other damage to property all throughout the city that came forward and sued. So United Way expected this to be this big event where a ton of publicity would come and turn around the bad perception of Cleveland in this era, and it actually soured it even worse and cost them way more because of all the settlements. And so in the years since, this has become like this urban legend almost. No, it's not a legend because it's a true story. Just this big thing that you hear people talk about, like how big of a failure
fiasco.
Yeah, Balloonfest 86 was because it was such a big failure. It's kind of like Firefest before Firefest.
Sure.
But here's what's interesting. None of what I just said is true. All of this story of everything that happened, of the $1 million in damage, the injuries, the people dying, all of this stuff isn't true. And it's something that you hear everybody talk about when they talk about Balloonfest 86. If you've heard about this before and you're like listening to this episode, you're like, yeah, I remember hearing about how big of a failure it is. It's not true. What happened
is
about a decade after Balloonfest 86. Balloonfest happened. went off without a hitch. There was a lot of balloons that fell. Like that storm did come in. A lot of balloons fell. There was a 10-car pileup on the freeway, but that 10-car pileup was because someone was distracted watching the balloons launch, not because they fell and they got in their way. It was them just seeing it and then crashing.
Sure.
And there was no like major injuries in it. There was damage.
Right.
There was no major injuries. There was a couple other car accidents that day, but all the rest of the car accidents could only be attributed to just like regular causes. Like it had nothing to do with the balloons.
Right.
There was all those balloons that fell in the water. And there was that search for those two fishermen. But after the fact, an autopsy revealed that they had died long before Balloonfest even happened.
Oh,
and
okay.
so, yes, it did impact the search, but it wouldn't have mattered if that was there or not. They wouldn't have been able to save those fishermen. What happened was somebody, and we don't know if there was another interview, but somebody had interviewed someone who was involved with the planning of Balloonfest. Not George, not Treb, but somebody else on the team at United Way for the local paper in
Cleveland.
And when they recorded for that, the paper was called The Plain Dealer. And they did this interview. And after the interview, the person said that when they did this interview, they presented everything that happened and they felt like it was an accurate, like from the conversation.
Right.
And then this article came out and it called it this major disaster and told all these stories of all this damage and all these lawsuits and all this stuff. And she's like, that's not what happened in this interview at all. And they said George ended up calling the paper and was like, hey, that's a lie. Like half the stuff in this paper is just not true.
Right.
And so he ended up speaking to the editor and the editor pulled the story. And the editor was like, oh, I'm sorry.
The damage is done.
Yeah, they said there was some stuff that was kind of liberties were taken in the telling of the story that made it sound more extreme than was. Because what did happen is the family of those fishermen did sue United Way, but they settled outside of court. And the United Way, the report was they got sued for millions of dollars and they settled for millions of dollars outside of court. But what really happened is United Way had insurance for this event. They went out and got an insurance policy.
Yeah.
And they paid just to cover the legal fees of the family. And so it was like a $5,000 settlement outside of court. And then again, with the horses, there was a lawsuit for that, but the courts threw it out. And so United Way ended up paying them a few $1,000s just to cover their legal fees from that, even though, so they kind of came forward and they were like, hey, that was a big misunderstanding. We're sorry about it. We're going to go ahead and cover your legal fees.
Yeah.
But they did not get sued. There was not millions of dollars of damages. None of that stuff happened. There was that one car accident and then some other around, but none of that related. And it all comes back to this one paper. And this paper got circulated enough to where there are copies of it that exist out in the world. And then when the internet became such a big thing, somebody found this and then they amplified the story even more on the internet. And now it's so bad to the point where every podcast, every TikTok, every YouTube video, the Wikipedia page talks about this being such a bad event. But if you go and you watch from people who were actually there, people who lived in Cleveland, from the people who organized it, from Treb, and from the government there, and the Coast Guard, they'll all say none of that is true. They didn't shut down the airspace because there was too many airplanes. They called ahead of the time for the event and they said, hey, we're going to launch this. And so they set up a no-fly zone before the event that was already established.
Right.
And so there was all this stuff that was made to seem
misconstrued.
Yeah. And it just kind of shows how hard it is to know how true a story is. Because this really was Firefest before Firefest.
Right.
And this was the thing, especially on the internet, in the early days of the internet, was where if you wanted to call something a colossal failure, you would call it Balloonfest because this was a colossal failure. But it wasn't. Like they did get a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records. They broke the record. Everybody who was there said they had a great time. Nobody acted like it was a bad event. Nobody got injured. And it was just a coincidence that those fishermen died the night before. And it was...
Yeah. It was a big success.
Yeah.
But it was seen as a failure.
Yeah, because somebody misreported on it.
But the mayor's hair did catch on fire.
The mayor's hair definitely did catch on fire. That's hilarious. And so it's crazy because it's crazy because the goal was to make Cleveland look better. And it did for a little bit until Cleveland's own paper sabotaged it.
Wow.
Which is nuts. So that's Balloonfest 86.
A huge success, according to us.
It wasn't bad. It was a good event.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like when you end stories with, by the way, none of that was true. That's crazy.
I mean, how could this be bad? You know?
Yeah, it does look like it looks like a nuclear bomb of fun. They kept those things in a net like Alcatraz. It's all a good time.
It's all a good time.
I got bombed at Balloonfest. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's well, I guess the record's set.
Yeah. And what's crazy, I forgot to mention, all these corporations got involved in this to kind of sponsor and put their mark on it. You had Coca-Cola, you had Taco Bell, I mentioned them.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that Hell sponsored this, and they actually had the devil there filling off.
Hell sponsored by Hell.
Sponsored by Hell.
Oh my gosh. Hey, that's the episode. Please share this with somebody. It helps grow our show. If you want to listen to other episodes, we did an episode about the Balloon Boy hoax, which is where a family had their kid in a balloon that was floating over Colorado, and it turned out to not be true the whole time. So, and then if you want next week's episode right now, it's available to our Patreon supporters. Just another way to help grow the show. We really do appreciate you being here. We love this podcast. I hope that you enjoyed as well. We'll see you next week.